Hello and welcome to another video from Dark Cribs Creations. So today I'm going to show you how I opened the glove moulds ready for the pour of the silicone. If you watched the last video of how I did the glove mould for this new range, you'll see I haven't left any pour spout. I moulded it sat upright. Some people might be going crazy about this because it's not the perfect way to do it, but I do all my smaller ones like this now. As you can see, my previous ones, my little skulls, I made the top into sort of like a scar for the skull. So as you can see, it works out okay. Yeah, what I do, I put a little hole in the top so I can syringe the silicone into it. So yeah, for these type of things obviously it works out okay because you get away with the obviously a skull head isn't perfect, so yeah, I can get away with these. Hopefully it'll work out okay on this one. It's not a skull, it's a completely different weight range. If you're on my Facebook page, I'll be going live with the revealing of this. If you're not, look for Dark Cribs Creations on Facebook and you'll find me there. So yeah, so if you watch the previous one, I sat it, moulded it like this, and then I'll turn it upside down, fill in the bottom. Well, beforehand, I'll tell you as well, as I was moulding, should I say before I moulded it on one of these cups. So I filled the top with silicone first and sat him on top, so all the underneath was moulded already. So I just let the silicone dry out a little bit, cure a bit, should I say, technical terms, Claire. Put a dollop of it on there, sat him on so all his bottom was moulded already, and then I built it up from there. Now I did use on this sculpt, he was monster clay. I did fast cure him a little bit with the hairdryer, but ensuring not to melt the monster clay at the same time. Just be really careful of that, because otherwise your work's just ruined. I do prefer to use the Super Sculpey when I'm doing these kind of creations, but I had some monster clay left over, so I thought I'd have a go and came up with this. Anyway, right, enough of my babbling. So what we're going to do, I'm going to open up a seam right down the back of him so I can get the sculpt out. So I tend to do it in a little, not zigzag, but sort of a step, just so that we can it'll go together easier at the end when I'm sealing it up. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. It's sort of stepped and not just a straight line. So that's starting to open. You do need a really sharp blade on your scalpel. I did about 6 layers on this one to make sure it was strong enough to hold the silicone once I pour. And I also if you get it thick enough, you don't need a mother mould with these smaller creations. It's just really time consuming when you're doing a lot more layers. I think on the bigger creations it probably is worth sticking with the pour spouts. It was just something that started to annoy me really, so I wanted to try and do a pour without having to mess around with the pour spouts. If I just show you on one of this is one of my bigger moulds. I'll cover his bits up. So as you can see, obviously cutting the pour spout off, it's going to take me quite a bit to build the curve of the head up. So yeah, we're just trying to find a way of where I didn't have to use the pour spout because they are annoying. So that's the cane baby. I will be pouring more of him. In the near future, but at the minute I'm concentrating on this new range, like I say, that I've got going on. This smaller, more affordable for people, and I just think they're cute. So yeah, this is really thick. It's thicker than I actually thought it was, which is lovely. And just need to watch where you're going. Keep picking it up so that it's nice and even. And then in a minute we'll be able to lift the sculpt out of the mould. Okay, so you can see now, can you see how I've done it in a staggered, jagged, so that just goes straight back in, you won't see it, look, and there we go. So there's the mould, the sculpt underneath. What I tend to do, I'll just get that bit. What I tend to do as well, what I always have a habit of doing the hands really big. I think that's probably going to be my thing that people recognise my sculpts for. My hands end up really big and I always have trouble getting them out of the glove mould. So what I've started to do is, before I pour, I've started to make just a little slit down the soles of the feet and on each hand, so that when it's set inside I can open the hands here, release all the silicone, and then I can squeeze it and push it up the arm then. Again, it's everybody's preference. You might have people shouting at the camera, no, don't do it like that, but I'm sorry, I do it like that, and it works for me. So yeah, so that's what I do. Right, this is the heartbreaking bit, because as you've worked really, really hard on your sculpt, now you have to break it. So this is why you need to really make sure that the glove mould is perfect, make sure there's no holes. It has all been checked beforehand. You can get little holes underneath. You see here where you can still see the red underneath. It is sealed again, I have checked that, but always make sure that you go over it again and again and again and again. Because there's nothing more disheartening than you taking your mould, taking the sculpt out of the mould, and there's a place where it's really, really shy, and it's not going to hold the silicone well. So yeah, just make sure it's fully covered, all holes are got into. They normally under the chin, under the arms, the armpits, where you get them most, where you haven't been able to reach. So that's why it's always a good job, once you've done the moulding on that way up, you turn it upside down once it's dry and make sure you've got everywhere else. Like I say, it doesn't take long to just find out where all the holes are. It's very much worth doing rather than you crying. I have done it, lessons learnt, I really have. As I've opened this, I've found already that there's been an air bubble. As you can see an air bubble there, but it's I'll be able to sort that out. So yeah, so I'm not going to show you his face, because like I say, there is a big reveal on my Facebook page. So this is what happens. We have to break him. I'm just going to take that off there. I might actually make the split now, and it'll be easier to get the bottom of his hands off. So I'll show you. Literally just one split down. And it works well for me, so. So the hand broken off. Had just gone right through it then, but all's fine. They don't need to be too big of a split on the hands, just enough that you can pull them out. So there you can see there's his hands. That's obviously where the scalpel's just gone through. Scalpel. They are all nice and smooth. Oh, I've just shown you his face now, haven't I? Oh well. Right. So there's one. And there's two. I'm going to do his feet as well, I think. So like I say, just a small cut on his feet just so that you can get them out. Pull his foot off. And there's his little foot. And there we go, another one. And now he should just pull out. There we go. I think I've got a bit of his, so like I say, I'm not going to show you his face because I do have a reveal coming up. If you have seen it, oh well, you don't need to watch the lives then. Right, I've still got a bit of his leg left in here. So always check for any clay residue that's left down in the toes and the fingers, obviously. So there's the mould. Yep, you can actually see his face in there. It's so it looks like it's a good mould. Like I say, I think there's only one. Looks like there's only one air bubble, and that's that there. But I can easily just fill that little bit in. There's a couple, one on his creases as well, just on the back of the neck. So always check all your insides. This is why it's always a good thing to do that on the hands as well. Check all the insides of the hands, making sure there's no clay left in there. There's tiny little bits, as you can see, and that will always affect the pour as well. The fingers look like they've all come out okay. And just see tiny bits of clay that's left in. So always make sure you get these out, because otherwise they'll just stick in your mould. And then if you're anything like me, you'll be crying again. It's just a lot of money to waste. And believe me, I have wasted a lot. As I was learning, I'm still learning, I'm always learning. So there we go. But on my next video, I'll show you actually what I do. Just on the top of the head, making sure that it is directly on the top. You don't want it on the sides or anything, just obviously for pouring the silicone, you let the gravity take hold. So directly on the top, I do another slit. Not too big, just enough for the top of the syringe to go through. Obviously, be really careful. Make sure that you're not going through your fingers. I just think it's so much better to do this rather than having a pour spout to cut off, because then once you when you've poured, you can see the bottom of the, I'll show you in a minute. I'm still getting used to talking about what I'm doing on videos. So there, I've done a hole there. So, oh, all my syringes are over there, but I use the syringe. If you've seen the video of me doing the skull pours, I syringe the silicone into the top, and then you can see you can see the bottom of the mould, so you literally just fill it up to that line, and it does end up quite smooth. Yeah, so it's a lot better than the pour spouts, having to cut them off and then seal them up again, try and get them smooth. So right, so that's the glove mould. As you can see, once you close it up, you can hardly see it. Well, you can't see it. So then that gets a layer of dragon skin. I always use the one that I've moulded it in. So another layer of dragon skin just up the back to seal it up, and obviously the hands and feet if you're doing that. A good few layers. I don't know. Say two layers of dragon skin going up there should seal it. Sometimes one will do it on the hands. I always try and give it two, just to cover it all up and to make sure that there's not going to be any leaks. One way to test it for any leaks, fill it with water. It will need a good clean before you put your release agents in. So you can fill it with water, hold it up and see if there's any drips. So that's that. So subscribe to the video if you enjoy watching these sort of how-to videos with the tips and tricks. Share it if you want. The more subscribers the better. Obviously it's free to subscribe, you don't pay. But yeah, I'm trying to get the channel out there now, bit of recognition, and it'd be great if you could help me do that. So thanks for watching again, and don't forget to check out the next video where I will be pouring the new range as well. Alright, thanks for watching. Bye.